Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I was ready to eat breakfast. I'm eating oatmeal. Problem is, there wasn't enough water in the oatmeal. I tend to overstack this thing, so when you pour the water in and you let it sit, you may want to come back around if you do it like I do, and just kind of put the spoon in there to make sure it's actually dry at the bottom. Because if you don't, you'll sit down ready to eat, and then you will have dry oatmeal at the bottom of your bowl. So that is exactly what I had there, man. Very, very frustrating stuff because I'm very, very hungry, but I wasn't about to eat that this way, so I figured I'd give it a little bit of time and come back around and see if it's reasonable in a few minutes. But yeah, I woke up this morning in prayer. You know, I try to keep prayer in my life every day. You know, the Lord has gotten closer to me since I've gotten found myself in these circumstances. And it's one of those situations where as you appreciate him, you want to tribute that relationship that's building. You know, it's not just me going through hard times and speaking out to something. It's something in me that makes me feel comfortable that it's responding back to me. But sometimes my brain gets in the way of that communication, and I find myself confused about what it is the Lord is actually telling me. So I'm just asking him to get me stronger in regards to shutting the brain off and opening up my mind to what it is he wants me to hear and what it is that he's ultimately trying to communicate to me. And that's ultimately what the struggle is right now. It's just getting mixed signals from what I feel is a prayer. And it's not really prayer. It's me being in confusion about how my brain is interacting with the Lord and what it is that the Lord is actually trying to get me to understand. And so that's what we all have to do when we get this close to the Lord but still have a long way to go. We got to understand that your brain is going to always be connected to your tendencies, and your tendencies are often, depending on where you're from and what you're used to, going to be connected to some type of doubt or there's some type of something sinful or something that ain't going to be giving you the right energy. So I just struggled with that this morning a little bit more than usual, and I just asked the Lord to bring me toward a space where that is no longer a struggle. You know, I look into my phone today and I see more of the same, man. Kids dying in Gaza, support seldom shown. I want to send a good energy to Kyrie Irving for wearing traditional Palestinian garb. What do they call it? Garb? I don't know what the word would be, but something, a wrap that they often wear for those who want to stand in solidarity with Palestine. I think that's a really strong statement from somebody who put forth the understanding that there was something awry within this conversation by way of what it is he posted, Hebrews to Negroes, and got reprimanded for it by his superiors who happen to be Jewish individuals. And you know, we say that Zionism is not connected to Judaism, but the reality is it most definitely is. That's what the reality is. There are going to be a lot of Jewish people who don't want that to be the case, but the people who are doing this are claiming to be of your race. So that's just what it is, man. And a lot of what you benefit from in the positions that you may stand in often comes from Israel pushing you there by way of who you are. And and ultimately that point of view is something that is not supposed to be the case in regards to, you're not supposed to say that, you're not supposed to feel that. But most of what it is that celebrities have, it's owners that are owning these teams, a lot of them are Jewish or connected to Israel in some way. And so that's just what we know. We can see that by way of our silence in this state, particularly in Hollywood and certain places. Not necessarily the city of Hollywood, because we did talk about those who shut Hollywood down. There's a lot of good Jewish people who stood for that. Shut down Hollywood and Highland, said not in our name. Shut down Hollywood and Vine, not in our name. And I respect that and appreciate that. But I'm talking about those who are higher ups, man. Just like we always say about white supremacy, it doesn't benefit all white people. Same thing in regards to whatever this is. It don't benefit all Jewish people. We know that. But it's those who want to wear your want to be like you and dress like you and represent you that ultimately are doing a lot of this evil. And so just by way of that, you're tied into it. There ain't nothing you can do about it. But nevertheless, Kyrie Irving exposed a lot about what it is that we understand in regards to Israel by way of Hebrews to Negroes, which is essentially more or less proof that they are not the original Jews. No. And that Israel is not the original Israel. It's not. There's a lot of proof of that in the book that he told us to read, in the movie that was made from the book, which is a documentary. And the whole last 30 minutes of that movie, it's just about data comparison and language comparison. They don't even have people acting or nothing like that. It's just a doc. And at the end, it's just scrolling. It says this word is matched to this word, and this is where you found this word, but this is not. This is actually connected to the original Hebrews, and this is a word that was found in such and such place. For example, not a real example, but I'm just making it up so it'll make sense to you. This word was found in Peru. This word derives from this word. Those people are disconnected to them by way of the words and the language and the various different folklores and tales that they told their kids versus what these people told their kids, and how are those two things so alike. And then you start finding in different parts of the world. This is what proves, more or less in its own way, that all of us are connected, and that they who say they're the original Hebrews are probably somewhere else. It's for probably where they're from. And you grow up in my society, and you hear about Israel, and they know this. You hear about Israel, you read about Israel in the Bible, and then you look over and see that says Israel on the map, and you're like, that's the Israel. Maybe that may be the land, maybe not. But that ain't the original Israel. Some people came there, decided they wanted to name that thing Israel, knowing that you were going to think that. So that when they decided to do this 75 years down the road or more, you would then have support for them in doing so because of the Bible. But they're imposters. It's not who they are. And we all know it at this point. And we see who they are and what they're about. They're colonizers, just like the Europeans who did it before them. They're showing us by way of what it is that they're prone to do, who they are. And that's what it is. Your DNA gonna let everybody know what you're really about. Your behavior. You could say you something, but once you start acting a certain way, and we see what it is, it's like, that's who you are. Ain't no different than any other English settlers or European settlers. That's all they are. And so as we come to understand this on a global scale, we gain a bit of frustration for those who don't understand it yet. But just like us, we need to be illuminated and have our eyes open to what it is that's been going on here and the lies that's been told, and in the name of the Lord, and all of this different stuff that people do, that they often do, to thumb their nose up at God. And all the colonizers always want to have something biblical attached to what it is that they're doing, so that when you go to condemn them for it, you feel like you're going against the Lord. That's why they do that. So, nobody's confused anymore, man. Not at all. Once you start killing babies, you pull the Band-Aid off of everybody's confusion. Now we're all just sitting here saying, how the hell we let this happen? That's all we're sitting here saying at this point. We're not sitting here saying, we got to continue to support them. No, we don't. Nobody in their right mind wants to support this Zionist movement, white supremacy. Nobody in their right mind wants to support that anymore. It does nothing for nobody. It don't mean you're not supposed to have pride in your religion or have pride in your people, or not protect yourself or try to find some land, but you don't occupy land that's already been taken, man. You don't do that. Just because we got away with it here in America does not mean you're supposed to be doing it in modern times, man. It was frowned upon, completely frowned upon, but people want to be competitive, so they do what others do. People want to continue to stay in cahoots with one another by way of their capitalism, so they do what others do, and it just boils down to people being able to do this. It's insanity enabled by way of capitalism. That's what you're seeing in modern times. People who are in control of what it is that goes on around you just happen to be led by people who are absolutely demented in the head and believe in demented cult-like behaviors as it pertains to doing horrible things to people of color in the name of whatever their interests may be. And so as we find ourselves more and more understanding of this, we just realize that whatever enabled this is probably no good for the world anymore. So that's what I come to understand. It's like, look, man, if capitalism made it so that we can let these baby killing bastards continue to control everything by way of us fearful that capitalism will fall apart, guess what? Capitalism needs to fall apart. That's the bottom line, man. If this is what keeps everything going, it can't keep going. So there's another way for us to move. We just got to figure out what it is. There's another way for us to play. We just got to figure out how to do it. And a lot of people are afraid to make change, so they allow babies to die. That's really what I see there. And that's not acceptable. That's not in any way, shape, or form acceptable. So, yeah, no, we're not allowing babies to die anymore, man. I'm not moving like that. I'm not in the name of your money or your wealth. I don't care for that personally. And I know there are millions and millions of people and more who will be coming in the future who won't be standing for that either. So, congratulations to us for finding a new way. And now we go ahead and try to do that. The Lord told me to, in so many ways to speak of things as if they already are, even though they have yet to become that. And that's exactly what it is. Congratulations to the world for finding a new way forward, for removing Zionists and the Zionist movement and Zionist actions from our midst, and protecting children many years down the road from here. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And so that's where my head is, man. I'm already looking past these people. I hope they understand that many people are, as we continue to protest the current day atrocities. We already know that at some point in time, even if it ain't soon, they gotta go. And so that's what it is, man. The thing about trying to break the spirit of people of color is you gotta understand, time and time again, we have shown you that you can't do so. You can do many things to us. What you cannot do is break our relationship with the Most High. While you pretend to have a relationship with the Most High and do the things that He most despises, we continue to show you through being victims of what it is that you do, that connection is stronger than anything you can do to us. And so that's really what the moral of the story is. The spiritual warfare and the Zionists are essentially the people of the devil. And they are at war with God, whether they are aware of it or not. And in being at war with God, they continue to do things that ultimately attack people who have connections with God that are strong. And they attack the weakest of them, the children, try to destroy them because they don't want the generations of the next to come who are going to be even stronger than those who are alive today to succeed in whatever it is that their life's plan would be. Because if they were to, by way of their discipline, as we evolve, they would find ways of eradicating them basically from the earth, or at least from their positions of power, driving them into places that they do not want to live, to lifestyles that they do not want for their kids. And that's what I think it is, man. Because if these kids that they trying to kill grow up to be educated, smart enough to understand, and disciplined enough in the Lord and in their religion and their faith to do what it is that ultimately their genius will allow them to, they're going to drive those Zionists into places that they don't want to be. Send them to Antarctica or something. So that's exactly where they belong, to be honest with you. Straight up, I think that's where you go. All you Zionists and colonizers, you need to find land that isn't occupied, and that land is likely at the bottom of the earth. That is what I truly believe at this point. That is where they deserve to be. Send them all there, big prisons down there, and send their ass to the cold. I really believe that, and I'm praying for that at this point, because it is unoccupied land. They can occupy it. You know what I mean? They're built for that. You know what I mean? They're not built for the sun. They're built for the cold. They just don't want to live there. So that's where they need to go, honestly. And so that's really what it is, man. It'd probably be healthier for them anyway, man. You consider there's so much skin cancer in Israel. Because it's not your natural habitat, fam. You need to be where the cold is, seriously. A lot of people ain't gonna like this. You're a racist. No, that's just what it is, man. People of the sun need to be near the sun. People of the cold need to be where the cold at. You're gonna grow big beards, lots of fur, and you're gonna handle that. You're gonna handle that and you're gonna thrive there because that's your natural habitat. People don't want to live where it's not warm, so this is what it is. At this point, these are the type of conversations that need to be had about people who want to take people's land in places that they can't survive in the first place. Talking about you're gonna keep Gaza forever, and you know, I heard some gaslighting nonsense about if surrounding came from Israel. Some official in Israel was talking about if surrounding countries want to support the people of Gaza, why don't they just inhabit them and pay for their reestablishment costs? And I'm just sitting there like, man, you need to be in Antarctica for real. We need to drive you to the bottom of the earth. That's where you belong, and we're gonna pay for that. And so that's really where my head is at, man. I think all them people that want to take people's land, and be in places that they should not be, for which places they cannot survive without dying of skin cancer, need to be sent to the bottom of the earth. I truly believe this, and I mean it, and I'm praying for it too. That's where you ultimately gonna be. And so, yeah, man, that's where colonizers go. The bottom of the globe, where it's cold. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.